Hey, welcome back to another week of Cyber Unfiltered. And guess who's missing again, Chris?
So unreliable. I'll be honest. I don't know what to say about this guy anymore.
Uh,
Unreliable.
I don't know. He's got clients to deal with, and we'll
Uh,
just go from there. Anyway,
I I think we're on Hinge or Bumble at this point with Matt, and he's just like ghosting us.
maybe. So, anyway, last week we were uh, talking about some of the FBI stuff that was going on. Was it Operation Winter Shield?
Yes,
So,
very exciting stuff. Everybody should get strapped in. This is going to be an epic 15-minute talk
oh,
about what the FBI says that you should do and a little bit of our spin. We're only going to cover half of it today, so don't worry. The other half's next week. Hopefully, we have Matt back at that point.
maybe we'll
But
cover half of it. Let's.
yeah, we'll get through half of it. I'll make this quick. Maybe.
Cool. Let's see what you got.
All right. So this might be a preview too of a webinar I'm going to do. We'll see. I got slides, so hey, it's halfway there, right?
Exactly.
So the whole premise of this is, and this is on the heels of what's happening in Iran right now. Cyber attacks are going to spike. Everybody is expecting this because of the operation that's going on in Iran. So just keep that in mind. So this
We're
was
already
released.
we were already seeing increased phishing attempts on a couple clients, and they're like, "Why did this all of a sudden start?"
Well, the Iranians have had a state-sponsored cyber group or whatever you want to call it for a long time. They've done a lot of state-sponsored attacks, so those are probably going to increase. This came out before that. This is just something I heard an FBI agent talk about a couple weeks ago, so we're just going to go through this and cover this. And this is something everybody needs to do anyway. Let's kind of get into this. So, what is Winter Shield? It's an FBI initiative. They gave a lot of like 10 impactful defensive actions, but they don't give a lot of context to it. So the thing that we're going to try to do today is cover 5 of these and give you some context. This was obviously based on their real and active threats, and but it's also stuff that they didn't even know that was going to happen. So what on the right there where it says why it matters, adversaries exploit known gaps. Most of the time they get in with just simple things.
Passwords.
Passwords, phishing emails, business email compromise, maybe your firewall that we've talked about 100 times has the admin page on the web on the internet and it's got a simple password, things like that. See, they talk about nation states, criminal threats increasing. They didn't even know what was going to happen with Iran, but they already had this on the board. So,
Yep.
one of the first things they said is to adopt phishing resistant authentication. So, what does that mean? That's a fantastic question. I'm glad I asked myself that.
Yeah, it's actually phishing resistant. I guess it's going to be things that aren't based on email or simple text messages.
Or even authenticator apps with pushing, right? So,
Yep.
traditionally, we can break down MFA really simply, multi-factor authentication. So a lot of times it started off with a text message. We're going to text you a code. We're going to email you a code, right? You get the code, you put it in, cool, second factor. We've already discussed multiple times why SMS is not a good option. People could steal your phone number, do something called SIM swap where they steal your phone number and now they can get your codes. Again, it's better than nothing. It's still not a really great way to do it because stealing passwords is the number one ways that people get in. And attackers are pretty robust at breaking these things. So now we move on to authenticator apps, right? You get a code. It's a one-time password, OTP. You put the code in. Microsoft has a different way to do that as well. They have it where they can show you a number on the screen, and then you have typed the number in. Great. Is that phishing resistant? No. Now we move on to, but it's better than text message.
Sure.
So now we get to the point where, okay, and I showed this a couple weeks ago, but if somebody sends you a link and you go to it, it looks like the Microsoft website, and it's not. It's another domain that's just hosting it. It's a reverse proxy. You don't have to know what that is. It just looks like you're sending to Microsoft. They're stealing your credentials and they're stealing your token on the way back. They're stealing it. Then they can log in like you from anywhere. So the first two options, those attacks don't get stopped. When you get to where it's phishing resistant, you can stop those attacks. Now you can do that one of two ways. It says FIDO2 security keys. I'm sure everybody listening to this right now knows what FIDO2 security keys are. I'm positive. Everybody talks about this. I tell you what, Super Bowl Sunday, actually, this is a lie. I was just going to make something up where I was at a party and talk about FIDO2. It's a lie. But basically, it's a hardware key. It's a hardware token, much like that you plug in your computer, plug in your phone. You can use Bluetooth, NFC to do it as well. But you have to have that token with you everywhere you go. And that authenticates you to the website. That's phishing resistant because it has to communicate with the website. It has to be registered with the website, and you have to be on the domain of the website for it to work. So those adversary in the middle attacks with like the fake phishing link, it doesn't work there. Neither do device-bound passkeys. Microsoft now supports passkeys. What's a passkey? It's just a way to not use a password. It's kind of like a security token, but it's generated for the device and it's stored inside of your authenticator app. It's just the easiest way to do is it's just dedicate. I'm trying to figure out an easier way to say that, but it's generated just for that device. Now you can share them.
So that device being on that device with additional layer authentication, probably a fingerprint or some
it's a cryptographic pair.
But the device itself becomes the key.
Yes, you store your part of the cryptographic pair, right?
Yep.
Right. Microsoft has one side, you have the other side. Right. So if you go to the website again, the passkey will only work if you're on a Microsoft website. If the page is Microsoft, it checks the URL. It will not give you the passkey otherwise. So it's phishing resistant. Cool. Awesome. That solves that. Most people, I'm gonna make up a stat because stats made up are fun. 99% of companies aren't doing passkeys or FIDO2. I could be wrong. It might be lower than that, but it might be higher than that or lower than that. Most companies that we're dealing with, now we're starting to move our customers to this. We're starting to have conversations around this because this is something that's really important. But how many companies have that use device-bound passkeys or FIDO2 tokens?
I haven't used the physical token since I was at Toys R Us.
Yeah. So there you go. But if we do this, it's one more thing to stop people from stealing our getting access to our email accounts. So it's a way to protect users from themselves. And it's really not that hard to set up. It's really not that hard to maintain. But it's something that the FBI is recommending and we're recommending too. We can have a deeper conversation on this. If you want us to deep dive in this, just let us know down below. Let's move on to the next one though. Risk-based vulnerability management. Again, another topic, man. I tell you what, parties. I am so excited at parties talking about this stuff.
Yeah. Hey, you must be the life of the party these days, dude.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. The people just come up and talk to me and never leave when I'm talking about risk-based vulnerability management. Woo! All right.
Let's stay away from you when we're in Denver.
Yeah, if you don't want to talk to people, don't. Actually, people don't want to talk to me. What were we joking about? Yeah. We've talked about vulnerabilities before, firewalls, things like that. Let's just narrow this down. You need to know what assets you have. You should have an asset inventory, meaning you should know what computers you have, what phones are connected, what hardware you have, like switches, access points, firewalls, all that stuff. You should have a documented inventory. You should also have an inventory of your data. But specifically for this is physical assets. Let's think of this as physical assets right now. Or, well, I guess in digital assets software. So computers, software, hardware, software. We need to know what vulnerabilities you have. We should be doing a scan. You can do it weekly. You can do it monthly. You could do it quarterly. I would say at least do it monthly so you can actually react to it. But if a vulnerability is found, you set timelines for how quickly you need to do it. So if there's a critical vulnerability found, we could set up a thing with you where it's like, okay, if it's let's say in the scoring system, it's a 9 or higher, we need to get this solved in 3 days, right? Or 2 days or 1 day or whatever you're comfortable with. Set that, fix the vulnerability, document it, move on. If there's an exception, if there's something that you can't deploy, let's say you have an old application and you can't go to the latest version of Java, right? That's probably a common thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to document the exception and why, and then you're going to have to put other things in place to protect that device. That could mean you're limiting it only to a few devices to access it because you want to make sure that it can't be exploited. And then you should make a plan on, okay, can we upgrade this piece of software so that we don't have this vulnerability? And just have a plan. So we're basing all of this on the risk. The higher the risk, the quicker, the more important it is to take care of, the quicker we get it solved. Simple. Oh my God, this is a great one. How many of you are in Windows 10 right now?
Retire assets?
Yeah. How many of you are in Windows 10 right now? Tell me you don't have Windows 7 in your environment. You tell me you don't have anything older than Windows 7.
I did find a Windows 7 machine recently. I forget where that was, but yeah, I was like, really?
All right. We have to have a conversation. Just the three of us. I know there's two of us here, but I'm assuming there's at least one person watching this. If you don't have a life cycle for your assets, you have a problem. If you want to set the life cycle to 5 years for a PC, a computer, great. If you want to set to 5 years for a server, great. But you have to track it. We have to maintain it. You have to track it. And specifically for operating systems, you need to have the latest supported operating system because those are the ones getting security patches. Now, if you have Windows 10 and you went out and you said, you know what, I'm going to buy the extended service update, ESU, great. You're cool for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. But you still need to think about going to Windows 11. And I know that's hard with the last couple patch updates. So we'll leave it at that. Specifically right now, I'll give you an example. We have a customer and they have an 8th gen Intel processor. If you don't know what that means, that's fine. It's old. It's probably 9 years old. It's supported by Windows 11, except for the February update broke it.
Oops.
It locks. And it seems like almost all devices that are 8th gen or older, and maybe this is just not all devices, but we've tested a lot of devices that are having problems with the latest updates on older hardware, even though it's supported. So if you have newer hardware, the same problems don't exist. So keep that in mind. 5-year life cycle on a PC is pretty long, pretty acceptable at this point. Maybe you can extend it, maybe you can't. It depends on the use case. But we need to track and retire end of life technology. Oh, this is a good one. When was the last time you asked like a vendor of yours what they're doing for security? I'll wait.
Probably a lot of people is like, oh, everything's covered. You know, I don't have to worry about it because my vendor takes care of it for me. Yeah, and a lot of people I talk to, I was like, oh, we've never asked.
You know what I love about this list? The third one down, audit for disabled and unused accounts. Have you ever went back and look when you go into a customer? Do you look at how many accounts they have that are just unused? That are still one active, not even disabled, just active.
Actually, I'll tell you a story.
Cool.
Last night I got an email asking I got an email from Google saying that I had administrative access to somebody's tenant. And this was somebody that I did a short project for over a year ago and never touched it again. Well, this company's now in litigation. And they're like, oh, what's all this account? We got locked out. Can you took our account. It's like, no, I didn't take it. You gave it to me 2 years ago and they never cleaned up their stuff. So 2 years I had access to their stuff. And they actually needed it because whoever was managing it vanished or changed passwords and couldn't get in. So basically no one audited their environment for over a year. And I had just had this account sitting there.
But you were able to get them back in because of that.
I got them back in because
this is a terrible story. This ruins our whole point here of cleaning this stuff up.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I was just a third party. I hadn't done.
But you know what you could have done? Yeah, because like what you could have went in there and did whatever you wanted. Not that you would, but you could have.
Yeah.
So if somebody got access to that, that's crazy. Dang, dude. But yeah, this is pretty self-explanatory. Ask questions. You should understand in the contract if they have a breach, what notifications. You know, if you're doing business and you're giving personal information or sharing information, you should understand what security certifications they have, what frameworks they follow, what standards they follow, things like that. You should be asked these questions. If you don't have a third-party risk management program now, just ask one of us. We can work with you on that. That should be part of a good cybersecurity program. So this is a really good thing to have. It's just a lot of people don't have it, especially at small business. Large businesses almost always have this. All right, this is a big one too. This is the last one for the day. Everything that you have has a security log. You just need to keep them. We call it a SIM, call it a SIEM, call it that thing on premise or in the sky that just sucks up all our logs and keeps them for a certain period of time. Probably minimum 90 days. If you're in a regulated industry, you're going to look at a year or more. You have to keep these.
That's a lot of data.
This says 12-month retention, but honestly, for most basic businesses, 90 days is probably all you need. The reason I say that is because adversaries right now, when you look at them, they're not in there for 90 days. They're hitting you much quicker. They might be in there for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe, and then they hit you and they do what they're going to do.
Yeah, and the big thing here really is to make sure you've got everything logged that you possibly can.
Yeah,
with timestamps
within reason. Yeah, because this is how they figure out what happened, right? And if you have a good team that's looking at these logs, combining with like an EDR, an endpoint detection response, if you have a good SOC team that's working with this, like they should be able to use these logs with that to and put some threat intelligence to play and protect you a lot better. This is like the bare minimum stuff that you should be doing at this point. This is pretty basic. This is what everybody should be doing. Again, everybody probably shouldn't be doing 12 months. I like the 12-month thing, but like that could get expensive on audit logs. Start with 90 days unless you're regulated. If you have a reason to go to a year, 100% go to a year. I'm not saying that. I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on TV. This is for educational purposes only. Just stick that YouTube thing on there.
What's the quarterly single user review exercise?
You should look at every single user quarterly and make sure that they're should be there or not.
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what they were asking for. I don't know.
Hold on.
Quarterly single user review exercise. Pick one user and go see what they've been doing. Might not like what you find.
I got the file. Hold on. I'm reading through it.
While we watch Chris read,
it's conducting a quarterly exercise to review logs of activity for a single user or a server.
Okay.
So you're just trying to identify gaps in the log retention. So pick a user, pick a server, and just make sure that they're in there. I'd probably do more than one, but like that was their essence of it.
Basically, it's like a backup test.
Yeah, you're just trying to validate you have good information, that there's no gaps.
Cool. Well, anyway, next week we're going to be enlightened with the completion of the list.
Yeah, tune in for that. Get your chips ready, popcorn, get comfortable on the couch, ask some questions, let us know if there's any clarifications you need. This is really good stuff. There's things that we need to have a deeper discussion on. But this list is really good. We're trying to bring context to it. So hopefully Matt is back next week. Sure. Mm-hmm. Right. Maybe. All right. Maybe we won't get ghosted again. So
hey. We'll take his name off the website.
Oh. Ooh. We should fire him. That'd be awesome. Fire him on an episode and then have him watch it and then figure that out. Well, on that note, Matt, not yet, but close.
All right. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.